Hi, welcome to the VNN's discussion series of this week. And we have with us, of course, Ambassador Praveen Verma. And today, I think it's a good day outside. It's a bit
Very
cold.
good, very good. A bit cold. And this year it seems till now the weather has been playing a yo-yo. Comes into 1, then goes to -10, then again comes into 1 and again goes. We are expecting a snowstorm by Monday.
By Monday, and
And today
the,
it's
the
out
wind,
sunny and
but the
bright.
wind chill is about 16 to 17 degrees, so
Yeah,
it's
yeah,
quite
yeah,
cold.
yeah.
Anyway, and of course, considering the cold outside, seems to be a thaw in Indo-Canadian relations. Maybe is there a reset of ties taking place because of various factors? Maybe South China Sea, the Indo-Pacific, Canada's problems with China, and of course India's growing clout and in the international community, and Canada says it doesn't want to be left out of the market. What do you think?
Yeah, it's a good observation, Bala. I would say that there's an attempt to thaw the relationship because it has been in a cold storage for a long time. And the reasons are very well known to us, to you and me, and to all the people around that there has been the problem of the Sikh extremism which was there over here in this
The
country.
fringe rather. It is
Of
a
course,
fringe,
it was always a
but
fringe.
they make the most
It
noise,
was
isn't it?
always a fringe, but the point is that it gave an impression
Yeah.
to an outsider, especially a person in India in politics, that the local government is not doing as much as it should towards cutting down or curbing the influence of these.
But of course, there are a lot of political constraints in Canada to do that. I mean, the Sikhs are an influential community, and it should not be seen as discriminatory to one particular community, what's happening in distant lands. And that apart, I think the Sikh community is also very powerful in the political sphere in Canada.
Yeah, but then
So,
you can't blame Indian politicians for this freezing of the relationship because perspective from India is this, and India feels that the more should be done by the host government. We are both are large democracies, vibrant
yeah.
democracies, and we have much to gain from each other. And the sooner we sort of start doing more with each other, the better it is. The trade relationship is much lower than
Very
what it
important.
should
Yeah,
be.
should be.
Uh,
Can mean run into billions
and
of dollars, isn't it?
yes, and our cooperation in international fora is not so visible.
Yeah.
So things have to improve, and this thaw is a must. As a matter of fact, it should defreeze very quickly, as soon as possible. And I'm sure both sides people are working hard to overcome the problems and see that things move forward quicker than now.
And Canadian ministers like Mary Ng, they've been talking to Indian ministers like Piyush Goyal and others to boost trade. That's a very important step, I think. And the Canadian pension plan, I think they're one of the largest foreign investors in India.
Yeah, foreign institutional investment is going up in India. The reason being that it's a very good market.
Market, yes.
And as we have discussed earlier, businesses don't see political relationships. They go where they find a playing level.
A lot of Indian companies have been investing in Canada too. I mean,
Yes.
Vic Federley, I think he keeps tweeting about this investment coming from India, and he's been meeting Indian officials, and that's
yes.
very,
That is encouraging. Businessmen see, but then if there is a political push along with that, then it is what in Hindi may say, "Sone mein suhaga."
Yeah.
Things will move
Right.
much faster.
And another interesting thing was, for the first time, I think Canada has joined in maritime exercises in the Indo-Pacific, along with India, Japan, Australia.
The dragon exercise,
Yes,
as they call
the
it.
Sea Dragon exercise, and I think it's going on now. It's anti-submarine warfare, and all the Canadian vessels are participating. Indian Navy and Australian, Japan, US. I think that's China is not very happy about it, but there it goes.
But then again, all these things are directed towards containing China in South China Seas, in the waters of South China. And when you see talk about Quad or AUKUS and this Dragon, it's all sort of I would say aimed towards China, and Canada has recently joined this bandwagon because of their bitter experience
With the Chinese thing.
with the
Yeah.
Chinese on the Hawaii episode, and the arresting of the two Michaels in Canada.
Yeah.
So that had been a very bad public relations exercise for us with the Chinese in this country, and people in Canada are generally feeling that Chinese have been very unfair to the Canadians. And
Which they have been.
yeah. So the Canadian government has sort of taken a position which is not totally anti-China um, because of the trade relationship, and there are so many things they have to work together. It's not a
Yeah, unipolar world, anymore. Yeah, that's true.
but then it seemed to be more a bit inclined towards the Chinese interests, and more so because they're so well allied with USA, and the Chinese aim is to dethrone USA from their position.
That's true.
So
Yeah.
Americans, if they are dethroned, the Canadians, who are the major partners, will themselves also be have to
That's
be
true.
affected.
Yes. And I think there was an interview recently given by the Indian High Commissioner Ajay Bisaria to an Indian news magazine, and where he mentioned about this, that there is a thaw happening, and it's all for the good, and the future looks very good for Indo-Canadian relationship.
Yes,
Thing.
that's what I said, that the thaw is happening and it has been progressively increasing. We had a setback when Trudeau went to India, and it was an unfortunate
Bit of a fiasco, but
circumstances.
yeah.
But people have overlooked it, and now people are working towards coming together on starting from the economic side, because that will sort of forge ahead
Propel
the
other
political
areas.
emerging also.
Interestingly, I mean, last year the number of immigrants from India surpassed all combined. That's the largest number of immigrants coming to Canada were from India. So
Yeah, agree. And then again, I would say it's coming from all of India, not only from
yeah, from all of it, not from just Punjab. That I think also it's a good indication.
Yes.
But then
The demographics are changing,
demographic
and
will
therefore
change.
the things, as far as the Indian community is concerned, might change.
Hopefully that will be something good for both Canada and India.
course.
And of course, going back to the Indian subcontinent, I mean, this Chinese, I don't know, the threat, we can't call it a threat, the Chinese presence looms all over the subcontinent. Now, the Chinese foreign minister was in Maldives, and before that he was in Sri Lanka, and he was visiting the other Indian Ocean island of Comoros, and I think try to encircle India there, and trying to, I don't know, what he wants, wiggle space. What do they expect now?
No, you were talking of Chinese influence looms over the Indian subcontinent. I'll say it looms over the entire world.
Yeah, it's true. Yes.
When you look at it, what is happening in Latin America,
Yeah.
the Chinese are doing the same thing in Latin America, what they are doing in Africa, what they are doing in our Indian neighborhood, in Sri Lanka, in Maldives. They are wanting places where they can increase their influences, and they have a big pocket, deep pocket. They are able to give them money and bring them in their
And I
fold.
think corrupt the local leaders. I think that I think could be one of the other reasons. Isn't it? If they can easily corrupt one of the political leadership, they can get into the country.
I won't go into that, because then you're branding all politicians in one thing. But they are contributing heavily in the economies of these countries, and
I don't know if it is contribution, because it's I think it is coercive, because if they give loans, they expect something in return, isn't it?
Yeah, the whole strategy is to catch them in a debt trap.
Yeah.
And once they are in a debt trap, then they are able to get anything done through them. So Maldives at present is nearly going into that. Pakistan is already into that.
Sri Lanka is deeply into it.
Sri Lanka is deeply into it, but Sri Lanka has become suddenly so conscious that it's trying to sort of get away, and are trying to influence Chinese to mend their ways and see that there's more equitable investments and more equitable.
Right.
Because at present the investments over there do not have any returns. So the
Hambantota
debt is
port is a white elephant. Wherever they invest, nothing happens there.
It's a white elephant, as you said, and nothing is coming back. So the debt is increasing, and the GDP is not not increasing, so the debt trap is going ahead.
And the same thing will happen in the Maldives
It
also.
will happen in the Maldives, and once the debt trap is there, then they'll do what they are doing in Pakistan.
What
But
do you,
that is a Chinese strategy, and good that these two countries are sort of resisting now, and that gives an opportunity for India to see what they can do.
I mean, how can the West counteract this? That's the problem, isn't it?
Yeah, but point is that our developmental assistance
Yeah,
is still not is nowhere it is in the match. At least we can try to do something on that, and let's see how we can really, because we have to take care of our neighborhood. If we want to be a major power, even a major soft power, we have to take care of our neighborhood. And if we don't take care of our neighborhood, the Chinese will find a vacuum and come.
But for that, the Indian economy has to become much stronger than what it is today.
Yes,
Without
it
that,
is getting stronger, yes, but our economy is basically quite contained. And
yeah.
our funding for international development is much lower, and our terms are also quite difficult. So people are a bit of wary. We are very good in providing intellectual, what you call IT support and
Services.
trainings, and so we have
Not
very
cash,
good,
I mean.
what we call the iTech program.
Yeah.
Is a very popular program.
Training for all,
Training
the
for all the developing countries of the world, and it is a very successful program.
that you can't give bags of cash. That's
But you
that's
can't give back the cash money.
that is
I've
the
lived
problem.
in Africa, and I know that we were accredited in Benin and Chad, and
You were in Nigeria, you were in
Nigeria,
Nigeria, yeah.
and one would say that, oh, this is the new convention hall which has come in. This has been totally built by Chinese.
Okay.
This is the Parliament building. This happened very.
I mean, are they building it as a gift or they?
It's a gift. What they do is, what happens is that a Chinese construction company comes and takes this project, and they say it's free of cost, we'll pay.
Okay.
Now the Chinese companies come in, their labor come in,
Their materials.
their materials come in, and then from there it starts growing into the economy. That's how it operates. So after some time, those Chinese companies who are working for the Chinese government start working for the host
Other
government.
projects, yeah, okay.
The labor who is there is a cheaper labor, the cheap labor is available, they are working over there. So their economy starts working on those lines. It's a very productive investment on their side.
Okay.
But then it's something which, if I am given a free parliament building with all fittings and everything, I'll very well take it. But what they do is like this, and what we observe over there.
We'll see what happens now in between India and China. And of course, now they're building some homes and building houses in on the border with Bhutan or in Bhutanese territory. I mean, that's what. But that is true.
I'm not a student of Chinese politics in that area.
In Bhutan.
But what I understand is these villages were shown long time ago by NDTV, if you remember.
Yes.
And then the present government came out saying that these villages have been there
for a long time.
Long time. And that is perhaps a part of an agreement or whatever it was.
Yeah.
I'm not a student of that. I will not be able to interpret. And these are the villages which are slowly growing. That was the route where Dalai Lama came into India. And
through Bhutan. Oh, I didn't know that. Okay. Okay.
And that place is supposed to be very important for the Buddhists. So I don't know, but then that problem is an old problem. That village has been standing there for a long time.
So it's nothing new. I mean, they're projecting it as something new.
I'm quoting only the television sources.
Yeah.
That this was the blame was being put on the local government. That see, they built a village, and then the government said this village is not new. This village is long old. It's been there for a long time.
What do you think should India, coming back to something else now, about Russia and Putin and Ukraine, what should India's stand be on that thing? I think India has kept quiet on the subject. They have not made any statement.
This is a problem between the Russian influence and the European or the NATO influence in that region. Russia still considers that region
Ukraine is
as
their
its
as their
is
backyard
their
territory.
Russian civilizational property.
Right.
So they consider it themselves. And the NATO trying to have arrangements with Ukraine, military, they consider, they have compared it with Cuba. That you are trying to influence these countries on military basis and want them to join NATO, which is my land. It's a Russian civilized. It's a Russian country.
Yeah, it was part of the Soviet Union.
Nothing doing. So they are flexing their muscles and they put their arms. They say they won't attack anybody, but then they have brought in their forces to counter Western influence. So it's a struggle between Russia and
NATO,
or Europe in general, or West in general. And Putin, being the spokesperson of the Western world, has been
Russian,
talking.
yeah.
And then another angle is that Putin has to look at his position also in Russia, and there has been some weakening.
He is a strong man. He has to present that image.
He wants to have an image, and he wants to see that he's seen on the world stage as an international proponent of Russian civilizational interests. So his discussion, he's talking to Putin every third day.
Yeah,
He's
Biden.
talking
Yes.
to Biden.
Yeah.
And Biden is threatening him, but then for Putin, for his local consumption, it's a very good thing. So, India does not have a stake, so as long as there's nothing important to talk about it, we are quiet on that, because the Russians are our friend, Americans are our friend.
Why is again another diverting from this topic? Why is there so much silence in Afghanistan now? We don't hear much. What's happening in the country? The West is quiet. Pakistan has almost sort of literally taken over Afghanistan, and the whole world is quiet again. Why?
Fate accomplished, and everybody is now giving some sort of
humanitarian assistance.
We have sent money, we have sent vaccines or something, and Americans have sent money. So all the
who benefits? Pakistan benefits in it.
I don't know. Too much of quiet is also a bit
unnerving. Something is happening.
This is a question which we need to study and discuss next time, as to why is everything so quiet in
Afghanistan. All quiet on the Afghan front.
Wow.
Let us see what happens. Anyway, I think that concludes our discussion for today, for this week, as part of our discussion series. And we'll get together next week again and get and talk about some interesting topics again.
Unless there's a further problem, and we hope that COVID situation improves. It's improving. And
I think the peak is reaching now. I think that's
reaching or has reached in some parts of the world.
Yeah, right.
So let's see.
Thank you, Praveen. Thank you for viewing us, and welcome, and thank you.